Hello, my name is Naomi King, and this is an important announcement. Was that it? Was it? I don't know, I didn't watch it. My friend gave me the lowdown. Hey guys! I really want to say thank you to everybody that has been so supportive. It's been really overwhelming and it's kind of freaking me out. There has been a lot of confusion surrounding timelines and dates. People think that the 8-page letter was written after the trip, even though I stated it was written weeks before the trip. So in this video, I want to kind of reiterate and make clear what the timeline actually was and what the dates actually were. There were dates in the screenshots, but they're small, so I feel like people missed them. So I want to make things very clear. I am not denying having history with Daniel in the past. He first slid into my DMs over Black Lives Matter. Okay, here's some dates. January 22nd of 2023 was when he said he wanted to take me on a friend trip and spoil me. And we started talking about travel around then. For all the people who are confused as to what the fuck spoil even means, I'm a sugar baby. Now, he and I were not daddy baby. He wanted to spoil me as a friend. Like, that was explicit there. I know some people are not going to understand that. Some people are going to be like, I know. Me sharing this information makes me look bad. We discussed hanging out. He wanted to fucking pay for the entire trip and give me money. I wanted to get fucking tattooed. It was kind of a win-win. People are going to fucking hate me for this, and I know that. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm getting sued anyway. Here we go. I don't remember when we officially, planned and booked things, but the trip was going to be for the end of April. On March 28th, I wrote the 8-page letter. March 28th. This is weeks before the trip, which I said in that video, but some people are getting confused. 8-page letter was written March 28th. I told him about it March 28th. March 29th, I was like, hey, I want to say it sooner rather than later, because it's kind of heavy. And then on April 1st, we had the video call where I read the entire thing out to him, and it took about 40 minutes. We decided during that call, 100%, nothing was going to happen between us. This was one hell of a fucking wake-up call. It made him sign up for fucking therapy again. We made that decision. Just friends. We're not doing that to her. This is not about what he did to me in Vegas. April 11th, he messaged again to thank me again for that literal wake-up call. April 20th, I fly to Vegas. This wasn't the first time the two of us hung out. He came here and visited me in Vancouver for 3 days in 2022. Nothing happened because we were just friends. That being said, I do live with my best friend, so he and I were never truly alone together. So now I am here to answer the questions, what were you wearing? I went to sleep first alone, and I was buck-ass naked because I always sleep naked. I've done it since I was a teenager. I cannot stand the feeling of clothes bunching around my skin and twisting as you sleep and inseams, and it's just bad. But when he got there, I put this on. This was how I let him in, very groggy. I remember one of the first things he said upon seeing me was he commented on how high I looked. So I said, you want to catch up? He took half a bite of one, which would have been 10 milligrams, but that takes about an hour to kick in. So when he did what he did, he was still sober. I went back to sleep, and I did remove this because I was now under the blankets. Before I removed this, that first night, I straight up asked Daniel if he would prefer it if I left it on. I straight up was like, hey, I can leave this on while I sleep. And he was the one that was straight up like, no, I've shared beds with friends before, it's not weird. He straight up said that, my actions are my responsibility. He straight up told me, like, you be comfortable. Looking back on it, dumbass. I know that. He went and took a shower, because planes are disgusting. And when he was done, he joined me in bed. And I would like to let people know that I have slept in beds with many of my friends, traveling, sharing the same bed. I even sleep naked next to women, next to men, next to all the lovely people in between, and none of my friends have ever taken advantage of that. People off the top of my head who I've traveled with and slept naked next to who did not take advantage of me: Kurt, Scott, Cody, Kimmy, Tay, Romeo. Like, someone being next to you is not consent. I guess I should reenact for you what happened. Alright, y'all, here's what happened. There were blankets, there were pillows. Not this many. I was in bed like this when he came and joined me. He lay here, and I was very groggy and half asleep. And he started to pressure me into things. Because I was facing him, I was like, not good. So I turned onto my stomach and put my arm between us to create a barrier, and I was looking at my pillow while trying to talk him out of it. Like, I went from facing him and talking to him and creating a physical barrier between us because he was coming on really fucking strong. He promised me beforehand that he wanted to just be friends. He promised me he wanted to spoil me as a friend, which obviously, looking back on now, I was a fucking idiot for believing that. I was half asleep. Like, I had the strength to get up, make a couple jokes, and then get back in bed. But I was not fully there. So, he was pressuring me. The worst part about this is that I didn't even want to do it. You were coming on so strong. I turned onto my stomach, face toward my pillow, trying to talk about it first. You started talking money. I said I could do that, expecting more of a conversation, but you took that as a cue to start making out with me. So I was lying here like this, and then when I was halfway through what I was trying to say, he pushed me over and started putting his tongue in my mouth. Now, I will acknowledge that I did not fight him off. I will acknowledge that I froze because that is my trauma response. It was all very quick. I really did not have time to think. And then he worked his way down my body in a way in which I can describe only felt like someone going down the checklist of everything they had ever dreamt of doing to you. Very quickly. Push over, shove tongue in mouth, suck the titties, lick the pussy, lick the asshole. Like, he literally was just going bam, bam, bam. Like, and then he tried to stick it in me, and it was at that point that I was just like, I'm not having sex without lube, I'm not having sex without lube, I'm not having sex without lube. And he kept positioning himself between my legs, saying, come on, can we just try, just the tip, just the tip, just the tip. And I kept pushing him away, saying, I'm not having sex without lube, I'm not having sex without lube. So he jerked himself off onto me, repeatedly moaning my name and how long he'd dreamt about it. And again, it all happened very quickly. I've seen some comments from some people saying, like, the fuck, it takes time to jerk yourself off. Not for him, it doesn't. I am going to reenact for you what he did and how he moaned from both incidents. Night 1, what he moaned on loop while jerking himself off was this. Oh, Naomi, I have no idea how long I've thought about this. That's what he moaned on repeat on night 1. He came all over my buttock. He went into the bathroom and stayed there. I yelled at him to bring me a towel. I wiped his cum off of my stomach, threw the towel on the ground, and passed out. The following morning, Daniel informed me that he spent the entire night crying and puking, and he swore that it would never happen again. And that's part of why I believed that he wouldn't do it again. Because when someone admits to crying and puking after doing something like that to you, and they promise they're not going to do it again, you kind of think they won't do it again. So that's what I was wearing. After the pool, we went back to the hotel room so we could get my shit. Because not only did I have to, like, change and stuff, but for batok ceremonies, you need, like, an offering, and I needed to go get my food and stuff that I had there. And then he started pressuring me into the shit that he promised wouldn't happen. And I repeatedly told him, Daniel, we just talked about this. We said we weren't gonna do this. We just talked about this over breakfast. You promised me we were just friends. He kept pressuring me. I had somewhere to fucking be. So as per usual, I did not fight back. And I will acknowledge that. He did push me to my knees and shove his dick in my mouth, saying, suck my cock. That time, he also made me lie down on the bed while he laid the money that he took out of the ATM that he promised would be just for being friends on my body. And I will acknowledge I did not fight him off. But I did repeatedly try to talk him out of it, and whenever he pushed for sex, I did reject that. Oh my god, the shit he moaned. The second time when he was jerking himself off, staring at me like I was a fucking porno magazine, he said this. On loop until he came. Think about this every time I fuck my own girlfriend. That's what he said. It's really disgusting and really mean. But he said that on loop until he came. All over my sacred tattoo. So yeah, I tried to talk him out of it, but I did not use the word no, and I did not use the word stop. I knew that his flight was the next day during the day. I knew that I was going to get one more night alone. There was a third day, and everyone's going to be like, hey, why didn't you run away? Where the fuck was I going to sleep? Where the fuck was I going to stay? We went to an art exhibit place. It was like something 15, that crazy place. Just went there and hung out. In his reply video to mine, he explicitly said that we had consensual sex. Which is interesting because in his message here, he says, we didn't have sex. So we now officially have on record him saying that we had sex, but I have record here him saying that we didn't have sex. On April 28th, he blamed his demons and the voices in his head for his behavior and blocked me. I'm trying to not be the person the voices in my head tell me I am. A part of that is stopping with the lies. The guilt made me suicidal. I've realized so fucking much since I got back about why I am so fucked up and unhealthy towards sex and relationships. There are two people in me, and I want to be the good one. I am so sorry I hurt you as well. I didn't want to hurt anyone, and my God, you didn't deserve this, but I don't want to blame trauma or any excuse. I fucked up. I started acting like the voices in my head tell me I am. I can't just say it's because of what happened to me. No excuses. And what I am responsible for happening is something I will be trying to fix for years. On May 1st, I made 2 videos, because my whiny ass does this. This is a couple of clips from the video that was sent to her. I didn't want it. I didn't enjoy it. I feel absolutely sick to my stomach. We had explicitly decided we were just friends. He changed his mind on the day. He started making out with me before I'd even agreed to do anything. I just want you to know I am truly sorry, and you deserve better. I sent it to his partner May 7th. I know she watched that video because that's the one she responded to when she asked me for the truth. At that same time, I made a video for Daniel because I was in a state of shock and I was very confused and I felt very used and objectified and fetishized and taken advantage of and violated. But I was also devastated and in the state of hating myself for letting it happen, because that's the kind of guilt that we live with. Here's a couple clips from his video.
I wanted to talk about it in the morning. You pushed for it at night. We'd agreed we were just friends that trip. You changed your fucking mind and didn't give me time to comprehend it. I was on 50 milligrams that night. You were on 10. I was half asleep. You were wide awake. I feel so fucking used. I didn't even want to.
May 15th, my friend sent her a link to that letter. And then that was that. That was the last of it. Over a month later, June 19th, I posted that video, a conversation about manipulation, consent, and assault. It was about manipulation, consent, and assault. Some people are getting like mad about that, like the description's in the title. In that video, one of the things that I said was this. I was basically this man's therapist for 3 fucking years. And as I slowly unraveled his story and figured it out and kind of figured out why he does what he does, you know, it was all like a revelation to him, and now he's in therapy, blah, blah, blah. I recently got in contact with somebody he assaulted 7 years ago, and as she and I have been talking, it has become blatantly clear that none of what I figured out was a revelation. This man has been doing the same things, he has been using the same excuses, he's been manipulating and lying and coercing for almost a decade. If I had been the only person, I would have been like, okay, that was fucked up, you piece of shit, go to therapy. But it's, you know, discovering that it was all premeditated, and it was all planned, and for 3 years, it was just like manipulating and building up to this, and he's been doing it for 7 years. It's kind of like, in that video, I said that, you know, I had spoken to someone that had allegedly been assaulted by this person that I never named, and talking to her was horrific. Talking to her made me see a lot of things very clearly. 8 days later, I received the most aggressive cease and desist with many errors over the video that never identified who it was about. I replied that day because they gave me a 24-hour response period, which was not enough time for me to get my own lawyer. So I gave his lawyer hella sass, which I probably shouldn't have, but... So, the 2 videos that were made May 1st, that were sent May 7th, those were the other videos referenced in the cease and desist. Because a lot of people were like, what the fuck, it says videos. So the first link led to those 2 videos. The second link led to the 8-page letter. And the third link led to a conversation about manipulation, consent, and assault. I knew that coming forward would potentially ruin me, get me sued. He didn't really mention the second allegation in his little monotonous read. He's still trying to sweep that one under the rug. So he is going to focus all of his energy on trying to ruin me as much as he can on his way out. And he's going to be able to. I will acknowledge that I did not fight him off, and I did continue to hang out with him afterwards, because I was in a state of shock. And I fawn, which I hate. I feel like I had to say something. Genuinely, I don't want anyone else getting hurt. And I am willing to be publicly crucified for it. He can afford the best lawyers. Somebody informed me he hired a global crisis PR manager. Like, I'm gonna end up bankrupt, I'm telling you right now.